Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Up next is Newspaper Review.
All right, so we have a newspaper reviewer, Chukwudi Okoli Abuja, with us again this Monday, and it's good to see him. Chukwudi, good morning to you. How are you feeling? How was your weekend?
Actually, I feel more size than my government height. That tells me the amount of happiness in me. My weekend was good.
Great.
Don't I look fresh enough?
You do.
To suggest it.
You do.
Hello, Demo.
Hi.
I like what you have there.
Thank you.
What you have on.
Thank you.
You always dress well. Morning.
Good morning.
All right, so let's see what the papers are offering this morning. We'll begin with the Daily Times newspaper, and the Daily Times leads with Trump's tariffs that happens to be making headlines, across the world. Here we have a Kutsin Faswa Mohammed Tariba X-ray duties recommend measures for Nigerian economy to navigate the tariffs, and that's on page 2. Looking away from that, below the picture story, we have harvest of kidnapping. Another 5 women abducted in Zamfara. Nigeria meeting demands for sustainable social development justice, and that's coming from Kalu. And this one says Ekiti said to employ doctors, nurses on National Assembly members' bill. All right, that's coming from Oyeba Joe. You want to get all the details of that and get it clearly. A copy of the Daily Times to do you good. In the red strip, we have PDP demands official expulsion of Wike from PDP. And that's on page 7. And just above the masthead, we have use your position to unite Nigerians. Speaker urges a laughing of Oyo. All right, let's look away from the Daily Times now and see what the leadership has this morning. The leadership leads with World Health Day. Experts demand urgent reforms in health sector, and that's on page 4. Unpaid benefits, new Nigerian death toll hits 110. That's on page 16. Police withdraws Sanusi's invitation letter. That's on page 7. Of course, so much happening. You want to see all of that. 12 operators fault NACON over 2025 Hajj plans. All right, that's on page 6. Stop Plateau killings, ACF tells federal government, and that's also on page 6. Above the masthead, Dangote Wike governors orders to receive awards. Shetima speaks on Nigeria's fiscal federalism. And foreign airlines misplaced 4,353 passengers' baggage in 2024. That will be an interesting read. You want to see all of that. And of course, just to mention that the front page of the leadership has beautiful statistics on what the health sector looks like in Nigeria. You want to see all of that. The copy of the leadership will do you good. All right, Demola.
All right, thank you. I have the Vanguard newspaper with me here, and just above the nameplate, police withdraw invitation letter to Emir Sanusi. Details of that story can be found on page 8. Mufwang, Plateau attacks genocidal. Details on page 13. As can ACF, others condemn killings. Trump's tariff, over 50 countries ready to negotiate. U.S. official. Details on page 9. And the major headline reads, Cybercrime Act, Emergency Rule Protest, Anxiety as police organizers differ. We are leading protest. TIB, Showore, demand repeal of Cybercrime Act, and many more. Details of that story can be found on page 5. Army captain, soldiers, cause of terrorists killed in Borno village. Details on page 9. Peazu, Guain, Shehu Sani, Omokri, others make ambassadors list. Details on page 36. No respite for textile industry as domestic market shrinks further. Details of that story can be found on page 22. Nigeria battles meningitis with 151 deaths, 1,826 suspected cases. Details on page 6. Lesser Right Keyamo says aircraft recovery now seamless. Details on page 8. NPFL, Eyimba's top Warriors in Oriental Derby. Now we'll move on to Daily Trust newspaper. And just below the nameplate, we have Lakurawa kills 13 vigilantes in Kebbi. Details of that story can be found on page 38. Same U.S. tariff imposition may disrupt Nigeria's non-oil exports, federal government says. Details can be found on page 28. World Health Day, Nigeria's high maternity child mortality rate spark calls for action. Details on page 31. Then the major headline, which is Take It Back movement insists on protest, demands reversal of Rivers emergency rule, alleges rights abuse, misuse of Cybercrime Act. Police urge caution. Details on page 3 and page 4. Plateau killing, survivors recount ordeal, ACF urges end to attacks. Then we have Anambra governorship, Soludo, Ukachukwu, Mugalu get APGA, APC and LP ticket. Student dies in auto crash after dropping parents at airport. Details on page 220. And soldiers, Boko Haram terrorists killed in Borno village attacks. Details of that story can be found on page 6. Chooks.
You know, life is so sadly unpredictable. A student dies after dropping off parents at airport.
So sad.
They must have said, expect us back in the next 2 weeks or whatever. And it's unfortunate. May God rest him in his bosom. Anyway, Trump's tariffs, the federal government is saying these may disrupt Nigeria's non-oil exports. It's not may. Definitely the tariffs.
It will.
It surely will. You know, somebody said the other time, this is a time for Nigeria and the rest of the world to reposition their economies away from the apron strings of the United States economy. When you allow one country take 26% of nominal GDP, global GDP, that is too much. They can dictate to the rest of the world.
That's what they do now.
That's exactly what is happening. So I want us to see it as an opportunity for us to do what we can to get more share of global, commerce and trade and all that, so that we too can assert ourselves from time to time. Teriba, Fashua, and the rest could drop lines on how to get around the tariffs. But as it were, just as we've already indicated, global trade has taken a hit. Now, Trump is saying that about 50 countries have reached out to him to negotiate. He's a deal maker. I see him as a street trade. So let's see what deals are going to be made. The thing with Trump, I'm one of those who feel that he really doesn't have an agenda for governance. He throws chaos out there, then begins to navigate whatever the chaos lays out. Let's say the landmines that can be, at the bottom of it is slight intimidation, bullying and all that. It's his style. After the tariffs, watch out. Something else will happen. And so you keep on experiencing it the whole of the 4 years, This man, whom I like his program a lot, Farid Zakaria, GPS, was saying yesterday, he was outlining graphically how the U.S. has been doing better since the Second World War, on and on and on. What he's saying is that Trump's insistence is based on lies, a tissue of lies, that the U.S. economy has actually been doing better and better. Look at Europe has been moaning and mourning, so to speak, how their economies have gone. The United States never complained. They've been there doing well. But Biden's administration has to be bastardized somehow. So Trump would always say the things he wants to say. It's really unfortunate the kind of level of insecurity we're experiencing. The plateau killings are still,
Honestly.
chilling to think about. And look at what you read on the front page of the Daily Trust. Lakurawa kills 13 vigilantes in Kebbi.
In Kebbi, yeah.
And you ask.
And then kidnapping in Zamfara.
Yeah, that's kidnapping in Zamfara. You say this is supposed to be peacetime, but it sounds like a war situation. It's really unfortunate what men have decided to do to men. It's not the way to go. It's unfortunate. Now, Take It Back movement, they're insisting on their protest. It's within their right. The police isn't stopping them. I just know that I almost panicked that I would not be able to get to the office in time for newspaper review because the police cordoned off, the path leading onto the Court of Appeal, Secretariat.
Today?
Finance. Oh, yes. It's a long chain. I didn't know we would make it, but thank God we were able to navigate. The most important thing is that if the protest is going on, let people be orderly. You have a right to protest. What you don't have a right to do is to cause, damage, cause disturbance to those who don't want to protest with you. You'll be going beyond your bounds if you say that because you're protesting, life should stop for every other person. They're also demanding reversal of Rivers emergency rule. Well, I don't know. They are also free to mention that. The most important thing is that at the end of the day, we seem to agree that procedurally the president has followed, the process we expect him to follow. The lawmakers have eventually approved of his action. It is still debatable whether he should have sacked democratic institutions after imposing the state of emergency and all that. It will still go on. I was surprised for the first time. Good luck, Jonathan, who's like a dove, spoke up. He wasn't quite in sync with what government has done. But again, it is the marketplace of democracy. Let us exercise it to the fullest. Because at the end of the day, that's what tells us that we really have a situation where everyone can have a say, even though the majority are not going to have their way. That's the way I look at it. That's just it.
Divergent views.
Oh, yeah, divergent views. That's it. Then Anambra governorship, that's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
Yeah.
People are saying that Soludo will still take it. Let's see how it goes.
The people will decide at the polls.
The people will decide.
But that state has always been APGA.
Yeah, it's always been APGA. So. But then you never know. There's no condition that is permanent in this world. Nyeri doesn't know the song we're singing. It's yes.
Okay.
So it goes on and on. Yeah, no condition is permanent.
But especially if the governor has performed well, the people might just decide to
relatively speaking,
return him.
Relatively speaking,
if he has done so
they
well.
say good things about Soludo on the aggregate, so to speak, and no situation would ever arise where everyone says it's done well. World Health Day, my dear.
How healthy is the health sector in Nigeria?
I was at National Hospital last week. I go there monthly, and the situation still remains one that does not make you very happy. Those people out there, they are overstretched. I told you my experience when I was complaining that my patient was not being well looked after. And the lady looked at me, "Sir, I've been here for the past 4 days. I've not gone home. I'm doing the job of 3 people now. The rest are jackbad. We have to do something about the health sector." And I keep on saying this. The way we have treated our judges, the way we have treated our magistrates and the rest of them, giving them things that would remove them from temptation and all that, the same way we should work on medical staff. Actually, over there, they think health first. Justice, ministries
Health
have been...
is wealth.
Health is wealth. Health is everything. Let us stop this journey out of Nigeria. It's a morbid exodus because it's leaving deaths behind. Let us do something about our hospitals. It's very important. It's going from concerning to the alarming. It's not right.
All right, thank you very much, Chooks. The director is telling us that don't watch the clock, do what it does. That is, keep going.
I should do what the clock does, Abi. Now they find me trouble for this program.
Thank you, Chooks. We'll take a break now, and the conversation will continue after the break. Stay with us.